Okay, so this is Car Quest. It is a game from 2018 for the Switch, and it has had one major update where it has completely optioned out the need for having cutscenes on, as well as hit markers for the any piece that you collect. I am BaronBishop. I am the current world record holder for both the boss percent rush and the enemy percent, which is currently what we're going to be running today, and then I'll hand it off to my host today.
I am Mr. Drake, as we introduced me a couple of minutes ago. It is an absolute pleasure to be back already, and Baron, who has been an absolutely fantastic host, stepping in to fill a number of slots for us. Now he's going to show us how he runs. And so Car Quest is a game that I know I've played. As we discussed before, I think it's one of those ones where not a huge amount of people will have played it, because it's quite a, well, for lack of a better term, it's a bit of a sort of like cheap store, online store type game that some people will, love these sort of things, others won't. But I'm not sure it will have the visibility of some other stuff. So just before we do get started, I do want to ask, how did you get into this?
I got into this because I saw the Simple Flips run-through stream. He did a nice little playthrough, very casual, because he was new to the game. He, even though he was a previous speedrunner, he had no want to speedrun the game when he streamed it. It was just a casual thing that he did when he had time to stream it, and people, his audience, thought it was fun and enjoyable to just switch to during the stream. So I picked it up among a few others.
Fair enough. No, definitely. It's always good when people get into street games from seeing other people play them. So anyway, I won't hold you up anymore, because, we've had enough little hold-ups as we've gone along today as it is. So, as soon as you're ready, give us a countdown and we will get going on Car Quest.
Okay, then the countdown starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Okay, good luck, dude.
So right now we have about a 20-second load time. This happens mostly for the hub world, because the hub world is quite a large area. But for the most part, this is probably going to be, 5 different load screens for the hub world. And starting off, there's one piece to collect. Fun fact about this is it is the first piece to collect, but I figured out that you do not need to collect it to complete the game at all. The incentives, we did think about this, but I don't think I want to do that, considering I have been messing up like that if you... the geometry in this game is a little bit janky, which helps us out for a lot of strats, but sometimes you clip into walls and it totally just stops it. I was going to do incentive during this time, which would be that we would I would collect a little bit extra more, since it would give me time, since it's our battery collection, because batteries are what we need to enter levels, and entering levels gives us end game pieces. Other than that, it was going to be more of introducing more, Taz-like skips that I have actually put a lot of effort into, like 7 hours in total for like one of them, in finding. But I don't think, given how some of the runs have been running, too far behind, and too, we gotta let the marathon catch up. I just felt it was best to, for my first marathon ever, to just leave out the incentives, because sometimes the failure of them have a slight setback on them. Yeah, right now this is about 7 to 8 minutes of doing the same exact motion. It is a motion that I took from a friend of mine who had the first, big world record on this for about an hour and 7 minutes world record, because he introduced a skip mechanic that we will get into around the 13 to 15 minute mark, which allows us to skip the biggest level in this game with a total of 37 artifacts, all strewn about in probably the area as big as the hub world, which we will see once I finish collecting all these batteries. We need about 1,800 batteries in total for all the levels we need to go through. But I actually will probably stop around 1,600, because we do collect batteries throughout the run.
No, I will say to you, dude, I really wish that I knew you could just farm the batteries like this when I played it. That would have made my life a lot simpler.
Well, that's the thing. You actually could have. This was a thing that they added as, little Easter eggs through some of the levels. And actually, there was an old trick that we used to do that gave us 200 in the hub world. It was a weird little wall ride, which is a mechanic that broke the game in a lot of places. And it was just a secret little Easter egg that they actually promoted for runners to find, because this was actually a pretty popular game to avid fans of the Edis Brothers and just people in general checking out the e-store for Nintendo.
Well, I mean, like I said to you before, that's exactly how I ended up playing this. I was just going through the online store for Nintendo, randomly came across this game, and I'm not going to do the conversion for everyone, but basically it came out about $1, and I was like, you know what, for $1, I'll give it a go. And it was one of those, I was like, possibly one of the best $1 purchases I've made on a game in a long time. Definitely the best one I've had on the Switch by some way. It's just a fun game.
Okay, out of impulse, I was gonna bounce out of this run entirely and reset the entire thing, which I had to stop and think of. I just explained that I wasn't gonna do any incentives, since that would either speed up or slow down the process of this run. But anyways, you do lose 25 batteries upon any death. So currently, I did the math, but I don't want to explain it too much. You do lose 25 each round, so you're collecting 200 batteries on each little go around on this thing, and then losing 25 afterwards. So every fourth run we lose 100 in total, but that is fine. So the total amount of runs through this would be currently 9. I did think of doing 8, but again, for time's sake, I thought I would do the more safer route instead of pulling something out last minute that I haven't been practicing too much.
No, that's very understandable. And the thing is as well, what tends to be the most popular categories in a lot of speedruns tends to be not necessarily the safest category, but because it gets played more, you tend to be a lot more consistent with it, even when you're stepping back in after a little while. At least that's what I find personally. And so yeah, no, I definitely. But either way, we're gonna have a lot of fun once this run actually gets going, and you've got your 1,600 batteries here, because it's really not taking that long to farm all these batteries either, does it?
No, actually, this was actually a little fun fact with myself is I was actually very opposed to not this battery collection idea in total. It's the level itself. When I first joined it, I was very intrigued with the previous runners, I was supposed to go through that portal right there instead of automatically trying to, you know, die in the level, but so the level, yeah, just going through that would just spawn me right here, and that would just keep the nice little batteries I have. I'm gonna snag a few as I run off to get this piece that will open up the end of it. But other than that, collecting the first piece out of any level. So right now, that level is the tutorial level. I actually really hated that level because, you know, I just didn't like going through that level, going around in that circle to collect all of them, and then getting out of it. It, you know, took like, you know, at the time 2 minutes, but you know, 2 minutes at the point where the run was, you know, an hour long, was very, you know, something that I, you know, was thinking that I was pretty proud of for figuring out a way to get out of that area. So I just, you know, just kind of mulled over that little skip to get out over that center bridge part. What we used to do was we would just leave to the left and just go through the hub world, do a little jump that would get us onto a ledge that we would jump off to, and we would collect the... Ooh, that was scary. We would just collect another piece that would bring us back up to the top, drop down onto that center bridge, and then continue on to the run, where we do our first wall ride mechanic to get over another wall that would be, you know, in a normal playthrough, about 7 levels deep into the game. So it's nice and easy, around 10-minute entry, you know, 9 to 10-minute entry, pretty standard for me being as rusty as I am. That was not a skip I found. It was actually one of the skips that one of the older runners found and left on the Twitter. Didn't really do much about it. And then, you know, we were scrolling, the new guys, me and the new guys that joined afterwards, especially after the update. We found the Twitter, looked at some of the tricks, and added them to the run. So, a nice little tidbit. That was sheep skip, by the way, to do another little short wall ride to grab that little piece to skip corralling all the sheep in this level, about 5 of them, so that we could roll over them. But that would be probably about 7 minutes, because they have a pretty jank corralling system, and they would just have a mind of their own once you touch them, because touching them pushes them.
Okay, so I'm just gonna jump in for a second and talk about some incentives coming up. If you've got 2 minutes here while we're doing this.
No problem. It'll be pretty much just the same thing that I just did.
Cool, so thank you for that. So yeah, just a little reminder for everyone that coming up next, we have Levelhead any percent, and there is currently an ongoing bid war for that, in which you can pick the character of GR18, the main character that you will play as through the game. Currently, the options are yellow, magenta, green, and blue. Green is currently winning by about $60. I personally would love to change that. I'd love us to get some donations in that could take magenta close to it, or even blue, seeing as it's a bit closer right now. Also coming up in the not too distant future, we have Blaze vs Sonic as the character in Sonic Rush, which will be on a little bit later today. That will be after Call of Duty 2 by Electrified Speed later. That's going to be about, let me think, 2:30 p.m. US Eastern, about 7:30 later today UK UTC. That's a great one. As always, any marathon that's got Super Metroid has this incentive. Save the animals or save the frames. Now, I'm not going to lie, as a runner of Super Metroid, I am 100% on board with save the frames, so get some money into that, people. That's what we want to see. We don't want to force these guys to have to save these animals, even though I am now of the opinion that Fusion should be canon. But let's move on from that. Let's not get into that debate. We've also got coming up, and also, as soon as we just mentioned Super Metroid, you can also donate to Save the Decora, which is one of the animals where we will encounter it a bit earlier in the game. So that's pretty cool, because you'll have to go and collect specific items to actually let it out, and then you've got to time yourself actually getting through to get it. So that's going to be an interesting one if we can get that. And we also have coming up Beat Mania Play the Gold Rush, which I can't lie, I'm not familiar with Beat Mania games myself, but hey, if it's on as an incentive, it's got to be something interesting, so let's see what happens there. On top of that, obviously, please, I know we've already hit one target, and that is absolutely fantastic. We're currently sat at $1,026, but please just remember that we are raising money here for Team C's, who are going to be using this money to attempt to clear as much rubbish or trash from the Americans out of the ocean as possible. And my understanding is that for every dollar donated, we are able to clean roughly £1 of trash from the ocean. Now, growing up in a seaside community myself, I have, always had a huge amount of respect for just the environment around me, especially the sea. I've got to say, guys, it's a great cause, it's well worth it, and if anybody saw Team Trees and the fantastic work that got done there, same people helping get this done, get involved, get a donation in. Anything you can give is gratefully received. But sorry, I have taken up a bit of your time there, Baron, so back to you. How is the run going?
Oh, you know what? Perfectly fantastic. I held back a little bit of shouts of glee, because usually that didn't really line up perfectly. I did run quickly through a lot of things. First off, the quick little get over the bridge section, to doing a cheeky little using the geometry of a ramp to push past a column to then get up onto a block and then to finally ride along a wall. It is a newer, old. It was found old in the Twitter archives, but it is newly added to the route, which not a lot of people have done since it is pretty tricky. Usually it would be another 15 seconds added to the run to go around and do another get on top of a wall to then it's a pretty safer get onto the top of the wall to get to, and then we entered cheekily to get over a gap to push past to get a piece that would open up this little section that I'm in currently and struggling, which is perfectly normal on this game as runner, because again, as I said at the beginning, the physics are a little bit janky. So if you have gone and watched my run or any of our runs and you see us do this in like 1 or 2 tries, it's because we have reset, every
a million times.
Yes, every million games.
Yeah, I think everybody who speedruns, I think, is familiar with that feeling. There is always something in a speedrun which leaves you in that situation. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think you were very nice with how you phrased it. And I think she's mentioned it best yesterday with I think every speedrunner's got a bit of a love-hate relationship with the game that they do, because the game is just aware.
And there we go. I felt like this car, I don't know what it is about this specific skin. There are 8 different skins that change with every completion of the game. So you can't switch between them. You have to complete the game to play the next skin. which was, you know, nice of them to add skins, but not nice that they decided that you can't choose which one. I just felt this model, I don't know what it is about it, I just feel like it interacts with some of the walls differently than a few of the other ones. But then we go and do another quick little wall ride. We have a bit of more run up to it, so it's easier to manage. But now we are finally going to go back across the gap after collecting that piece in the basement, which if you see in the top right, there's a little meme that I personally made for our community, which hosts the struggles of collecting, of doing what I'm doing right now, which is opening up the third level that we play before collecting the piece in the basement. Because the piece in the basement actually changes it from the longest level in the game to now one of the shortest levels in the game, which is the only piece that we need currently. I did mess up a little bit on that little launch. I accidentally let go of the drift button before I let go of the A button first, which would have canceled the drift, and I wouldn't have boosted and launched myself out of proportion, because drifting creates two things. It creates fast movement, and it also creates boosting, and sometimes you only want one instead of the other. So right now, that is pretty much
Mario Kart physics.
Mario Kart physics, yes, that is one way to put it up. So I didn't really explain much of the physics in this game. So wall riding, pretty self-explanatory. If you angle yourself at the wall and then also turn into it as you're pretty much about to connect to it, you will ride up it. Bonking is another one that if you go straight into a wall, you would usually just dead stop. But since there are two things that can change that, it would be the actual physics of that specific wall, which is a weird topic and would probably take too long to explain. Otherwise, it is the actual angle you take with the car. As you can see that I just did, I angled myself to hit the corner of my car, so I bonked off of it, losing pretty much 0 speed. Or, earlier before this, I jumped off a ramp that hit a column piece, and that bounced me backwards and put me up onto a ledge to collect some pieces for a setup later off into the game. So that's pretty much the biggest physics to explain that will happen in the run, and I'll probably explain a few of the other ones that will happen when we get to that. So another pretty close, a little bit tricky wall ride. Ah, shoot. That is a mistake I made. I did not want to collect that piece because now I can't do the added skip I wanted to do to this run. But I can show you this little skip. Well, not a skip, but a little thing that I found. You normally can't boost on this thing, but in that little den area, it has its own little ground property, which allows you to boost. So if you save that boost, you can charge a bigger boost along the ground that doesn't allow you to charge up the boost. But apart from that, only probably about, I didn't save probably 15 seconds off of that little run if I didn't collect that piece, which was sad because I actually wanted to show that off.
These things happen. There's not much you can do about that when it happens. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you know, I've, as I mentioned, I came from Super Metroid speedrunning as my first speedrun game, and in that game, you know, you're talking about guys literally talking about 2 and 3 frame time saves, as you know, reset, didn't get that, lost 15 frames, and like obviously only the guys at the top of the game are talking like that because there is a lot of super veteran speedrunners overall. But that sort of stuff, sometimes I hear someone getting like worked up because they missed like 3 frames worth of time save, and I'm just sort of like, just hurts my brain, dude. Now 15 seconds is a lot more noticeable, but you know, it's not going to kill the run, which is a good thing.
Okay, so right now, what I'm doing is I moved a little bit so that once collecting that piece, sometimes if you main menu without letting the game update a little bit, you wouldn't actually collect that piece once you main menu, because main menuing takes you back to the start of the level you are in, so that helps us get through the maze faster. That route I did was, again, something that the older runners found but didn't really use, because the game actually told you through dialogue, which I had turned off, the correct path, which you can hear the boss level, the boss character say things before I ended his tyranny of wrath. But anyways, yep, I don't remember it because I have stopped using it after a while, but it was pretty long to do, and that has saved 2 minutes off the entire run.
Okay, right.
Yep. And
have we got 2 seconds for me to do a quick donation?
Oh, cool.
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in because we've just had come in a $100 donation from Intuition. And, well, the message alone is going to tell us what incentive this has gone to. You shall use the golden coloured GR18, Sam, so go free and best of luck. Also, let's get rid of all the plastic in the ocean while we're at it. So thank you so much to Intuition for that. It's a fantastic donation and we're gratefully received. And there you go, illegally Sam. You are, as it stands, going to be the golden coloured GR18. But yeah, back to you.
Okay, yep. One little tidbit that I was going to mention before, that weird giant piece that I collected in the generator room before that maze room, it activated the longest cutscene, dialogue cutscene in the game, which I believe we timed it. It was about like 4 minutes and like 50 seconds, if you just didn't skip through any of it. Which thankfully, I didn't even do the incentive where I kept on the dialogue and just smashed through the skip button. But nice little note though is that I'm not going to experience all 800 plus dialogues that the 2 creators have put into this game. So right now...
So
yeah.
Just to clarify, when you say 800 dialogues, as in 800 separate dialogue sequences within the game?
There are... It doesn't really mention a lot about it. It says that there are 800 plus lines of dialogue, so... I don't know if that takes in sentences or dialogue boxes in total, or just transitions. But I thought it was nice to notice because... I really love what got put into this game, and first off, that whale is a bit of a tedious thing. If you do mess up a little bit, you would have to wait longer for that whale to make the bridge gap for you to do, which you can skip it, but it is a bit tricky to get the boost timing correct. So I'll have to implement that later, but this is the first beach we will actually see in this game, so a little bit of a tidbit to Team C's here. The other level, which has a beach, is the longest level, which we did skip, thankfully, because I remembered the meme in the top right.
Okay, just a quick mention, seeing as just seen what Strotlog has said in the chat there. But yeah, so at the moment, for the incentive for the colour and level heads, gold, as it was referred to by our donator, I'm going to stick with that one, not yellow. Currently at $100, and green is at $90. So I mean, this is the very definition of a bid war. If you want green, get your money in now, because we are counting down the minutes before this goes live. But yeah, so one of the things, and I also mentioned Hex mentions there that the lore must be strong in this game, and I mean, from my casual playthrough, I would say there is a lot of lore that goes with this game. It's not necessarily all sensical from what I remember, but there is a lot of chat and background to what's going on here when you actually play the game casually. I mean, do you remember a great deal of the actual plot behind the game?
Oh, you bet I do. I'm actually one of the... See, since I put like so much time in this, probably closer to 600 hours in total. But
that's always...
I just love... I really love this game. So the basic plot is the King, Lord Blockstar of this Blocktaria world. He took a book that he likes to read from the library. It is the Adventures... Oh, shoot. That is also a physics thing that happens when you hit a ramp-like object that also has a wall to it. It just launches you. But anyways, it's a book about the adventures of Captain Brickbristles. He is a pirate who just travels the world on his pirate ship and takes a bunch of, treasure and plunders a lot. Turns out that that book was actually a sealing device for Brickbristles, and what happened in the game was, in that generator level, Lord Blockstar accidentally dropped the book into the generator, which sent out an EMP strike, which sent batteries, sent all the artifacts to, clog up the world, and also released Captain Brickbristles, which is the boss that I defeated in that nice little area. And if we do have the dialogue on, which I won't, we will be going back to that weird little triangle place that is around, past this wall here, which was the observatory. It will be now the pirate party room, which, if we listen to the dialogue, turns out us defeating him changed his mood, and now he's good, and he just loves to sing and dance with his pirate friends.
I mean, I think I could enjoy a pirate party, I'm not gonna lie about that.
I think I'm gonna show off a little bit, doing that entrance backwards. I usually would have done that one forwards, but I practiced a little bit because I wanted to show off some things. So this level, nice little thing. I pretty much pioneered this with the previous, world record holder that, we were both fighting over the world record title. So basically, this is the second fastest route made for this game. Oh, hopefully I get this. I did not get this, so I am quickly...
Okay, just let me know when I can jump in with another quick donation there, please.
Yeah, if there are donations, just stop me talking. I would like to hear that.
No problem. Okay, so we have another donation having come in from our very own Strotlog. He's donated us $20, saying, "Y'all are amazing for a greener earth." And hey, Strot, you were part of that, y'all. You've been with us the entire way through. And also, in case there wasn't a little bit of a hint in the comment for you there, he has donated that to the bid war for the colour in Levelhead. And we are now at $110 for green and $100 for yellow. So possibly heating up for the last few minutes of this run here. But thank you, Strolog, for the donation. As always, very gratefully received. And that is another £20 of trash, rubbish, whatever your country might call it. But we're going to be able to help clean out of the ocean there. So, so back to Car Quest.
Yep, so one of the things that is much hated about this game, not this game, but this level, much like the whale, these are interactable little, NPC-like things, and they push these ramps, which if you did collect all pieces, it is a big pain to have to wait for them to finish walking the ramp back once you pushed it, which also was a pretty big run killer. So yeah, me and the previous world record holder, after I smashed it a lot, we pretty much went back and forth on ideas, and this is pretty much what I have come up with. Probably 65% of it is my own thoughts on the level. Otherwise, the next 40, especially this part, all thanks to him. This little ramp jump to get one of the opening pieces that we need. I hate that. Yep, this little ramp thing, he found it. US Coco, I believe, is his username. I usually refer to him by his real name, but I don't want to do that because that is not my decision. That is weird. I don't know why, but the ramp is pushed closer to the wall, and I couldn't actually get in between it. Usually there would be enough space for my car to be, there, which I honestly cannot explain at the moment. I am losing a bit due to nerves on this. Run started off pretty strong, and then I flubbed up a little bit on here. But we're not doing that too bad for time. That little bump off the wall I found pretty nice. I think it was pretty snazzy. Usually we would, go around this little thing, collect a piece, do a wall ride to get that piece that I just passed, and then go back down and collect a lot of pieces. But a few simple push block mechanics and ramp, and also the bumping mechanic off walls, has made this from I think it was 5-minute run to around 2 minutes if I did everything correctly. But if I really want you guys, if you can, check out my Twitter to see all the little skips I did. I have pinned the biggest thing. It took me 7 hours to get this, where basically I've collected one piece in the entire level and used this squish mechanic that if you get in between a ramp and a ceiling, you'll either die out because you have been squished, or you will have enough force where the physics push you outside of the blocks and send you launching. That will launch you on top of the wall, and then you can get the stained glass piece to finish the run with one piece collected in that level.
Okay. I mean, there is, like, for what's, is a very, I suppose, it's a very low budget game in a sense. There is a lot of detail to this, a lot, and I think that's something that a lot of people forget when it comes to speedrunning. Some of the seemingly most simple games can be actually incredibly complex and detailed in terms of how you go about actually speedrunning it and what you can do with it. Like the wall running, I don't ever remember even doing it by accident in my casual playthrough of this. So, like, just little things like that. It's so cool to watch a speedrun and see these things. Just to get a rough idea, as an estimate, how much longer would you say we've got left of this?
Well, currently I am entering the last level, which would give us the last little loading that we have to wait through. after entering and leaving. It's hard to say. Probably around closer to 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, if I don't mess up. Yeah, I kind of stopped, playing any percent a little bit, and just spent most of my time looking for, little tricks and tidbits and stuff that I found was cool, which, it's nice having the world record, but honestly, my favorite part was just finding, neat little glitches and, stupid stuff you can do in the game because the physics are kind of broken. Because, love the Edis brothers, but they are, just two people. So as two people developers, you can miss a lot of things as differently than a big developing team for video games. But that makes it have its own little charm that I have really gotten attached to.
No, I can understand. I mean, the game that I'm running, the developers of it are very active within the speedrun community as well, because there's not a lot of runners in the game that I'll be running, to be honest. But it's definitely a lot more with you with this game. But the development team being so active within the community, so just welcoming, so nice, is just fantastic. It's a really, really nice thing to come into that sort of environment and you're talking to someone, they're giving you information, and then somebody else is just like, that's like the lead developer, like the guy who made the whole game, right? He's just like, really? It's a very cool feeling.
Okay, so this little area, that big, area that I just portaled out of, if you do go farther forward, you can actually get onto the ramp that we did for that whale skip, well, the whale jump, not a skip, really, and completely omit the two pieces that I had to collect to get over to that ramp in the first place, which I have thought of doing when I do a low percent. Any, guesses on how many pieces that I will be collecting? Currently, out of the 176 in the game, we are only collecting about 41, 42. So that would give us the basis for the any percent. So how much do you think would be in the low percent?
Oh, I mean, this is one of those things where it depends on how broken the game can be. I'm gonna, just to give a number to it, I'm gonna guess, let's say 15.
Ooh, close. That is actually too aggressive of a number. It is actually 18.
18? Okay.
But just to keep in mind that 18 is actually hidden behind, the need to complete a 7-hour trip. Well, in less than, a minute, if I wanted to, have my sanity intact and upload a level like that.
I'm just going to say, just based on your comments, 7-hour trick done in less than a minute does not sound like anything to do with sanity.
Oh, yeah, sorry. When I meant 7-hour trick, I meant it took me 7 hours to finally actually upload a little, clip of me doing it. Which
okay, fair enough.
I actually would have gotten done in the first hour if I didn't sneeze and I let go of the controller and I fell off the wall. I was so angry at myself because I just kept getting closer and closer and then I just fell every single time. So right now we're actually, collecting the last stained glass, so I will be ending, shortly by going through this portal. I usually go through the blue portal, which gives us the ending in the hub, but actually I would like to show off the home world to this character that gets summoned, which is a level that we don't actually run in any percent, so this is a nice little scenery to look at, to close out the game. This is, ending credits for when you complete the game. There is actually a playable credits screen, which I have thought about implementing into the run, since you can collect batteries in it, and it doesn't affect the timer. And how we do the run is you first click, start at the beginning of it, and then that would, start the game and the run. But you can access the playable credits before doing that, so you can actually collect batteries before starting the run, technically. But I haven't really talked that out with everyone else to see if we want to do that, because that would, save immediately 1 minute if we just collect 10 batteries for that. But that was time.
Thank you for that one. It was very entertaining. It is also very painful to see you do it in 40 minutes, probably what took me many hours to get to, just through the casual play that I had going on with it. But no, thank you again for the run, dude. That was a really fun little run to watch, and it's been great chatting with you. So for anyone still around in chat, give us a give a GG for BaronBishop. He's been an excellent host. He's then jumped straight from hosting to doing his own run. And yeah, so we're going to likely transition out of this in a moment, because we're going to be getting illegally Sam set up ready for his any percent run of Levelhead. If you've not encountered Levelhead before, I strongly recommend you hang around. It is a very cool game, a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to watch. And we'll be getting over to that as soon as we've got Sam set up. But again, Baron, I want to say thank you for obviously helping us with the hosting. Thank you for the run, and also we'll be seeing you not too distant future, because you're going to step back into host when my run comes up in the middle of my hosting stint here. So again, thank you for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. This was my first ever marathon to do for both running and hosting, so I was actually glad I got to play the games I wanted to. But yeah, I really do, like talking to you, and I would actually like to I'm a little thankful that I actually do get to host your run in a little bit. So after that, I think we can transition out of this.
Cool. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Car Quest by BaronBishop, and we're going to head over now to a little intermission while we get set up with the leaders.